welcome to the video. My name is Amelia, or in Ultimate Frisbee World, I go by Meals.
And my name is Rachel, and today we're here to talk about marking. In this video, we're going to talk about what is a force, what is a mark, why a mark is important, and the different kinds of marks that you can use on defense. So let's get started.
So in order to talk about marking, we're first going to talk about the force. So what is a force? A force is when I am guarding the thrower here, the wonderful Rachel, and I'm going to force her to throw to a certain part of the field. Generally in Ultimate, we talk about two different forces, home and away. A home force is when you force Rachel to throw to the side where all of your stuff is. So all of your team stuff, your bags, your Gatorade, that's the home sideline. If I'm talking about forcing away sideline, I'm going to be forcing her to throw to where the opposite team's stuff is. Normally, we don't like to refer to flicks or backhands because we do have friends that are lefties that like to play with us as well, and that can get a little bit confusing. So let's show an example. So if I'm marking Rachel and I'm forcing her home and my stuff is all on this sideline, my force will be here and I will be forcing her to throw to this side of the field. So when is generally a force decided? A force is decided before every point, no matter if you're on O or D, because just because you start on offense doesn't mean you won't play defense. So just remember, before every point, talk to your teammates, decide what force you're going to do, and that will be echoed by the sidelines.
So now we're going to talk about what the different kinds of marks look like. We'll start with the home force. So if my stuff is over there, I'm going to stand on this side of Meals and not let her throw anything to this side of the field. Most teams will force this force, which is for right-handed people a flick, because it's typically harder to throw a flick than it is to throw a backhand when you're first learning. If she tries to throw to this side, I'm getting in her way. I'm not letting her throw anything this way. And same thing if I'm forcing her backhand. I'm not going to let her throw anything to this side of the field.
So why do we care about marking? To me, marking is the most important person on the field when you play defense. And here's why. So you have 7 people on the field, so the circles will dictate the offense. These slashes are defenders. So if you're the mark who's here, your job is you're promising all other 6 defenders on the field that you individually will cover all of this. So what you're saying is that you will not allow the thrower to throw into this shaded area. This allows the defense here to stand on the correct side of their player because they know if someone cuts here, that's not a viable throw. So here if we're on a hoe stack, and again, the circles dictate offense and the slashes are defense. If the disc is here and you're on mark and you're forcing home, you're promising the rest of the defenders that no disc will be thrown in this area. So this allows this person here to stand on the right side of their player, knowing that if the player cuts into this space, this throw will be very unlikely.
Now we're going to talk about a straight or a flat mark. Flat marks are used when you have a thrower that's consistently throwing it deep. You're going to want to stand right in their way and not let them throw downfield. So if she tries to get any downfield throw off, I'm not going to let her. This isn't used very often, and it's used really only when you have that 1 or 2 throwers that just throws it deep every time and scores all the time. And so in this position, she only has really one good option, which is to throw it to her reset or to another handle. And that's totally okay, that's what we want.
All right, let's move on to marking form. So the way that I like to mark is I like to get into an athletic stance. And we're gonna go over what an athletic stance means to me from the ground up, literally. So let's start with our feet. So you wanna be on the balls of your feet. This will allow you to move quickly and react to Rachel moving as the thrower. If you're on the heels of your feet, you're gonna be unstable and not be able to stop her throw and use the force the way we want to. Moving next, you want your knees slightly bent, butt back, and about shoulder width or a little bit smaller and apart. If my feet, let's move a little bit farther away. If my legs are this far, if Rachel's moving, I'm gonna have a lot more trouble keeping up with her and keeping the force like we talked about. Playing defense is hard. I don't get to choose where I run or when I run. But here on the mark, I know that Rachel cannot move one of her feet. So let's use this as an advantage and keep moving as a mark. I can move, she can't. And lastly is our hands. If I'm marking and I don't have my hands out, I'm not really doing much. But if I'm marking her and forcing her flick, I'm going to have my hands out with my left hand a little bit lower, because generally the flick release is lower than the backhand, and this right hand up a little bit higher.
As a mark, you want to be really careful not to lunge after a throw or a fake. This is one of the biggest mistakes you can make as a mark because it makes it super easy for Meals to just throw right around me. So if I lunge out for one of her throws, she just comes back the other way and I can't get back fast enough. Also, as a mark, you can look at a few different places on the person's body to try and see where they're going to throw. Personally, I like to look at the person's eyes when I mark because you can typically tell when they've locked on to the person that they're going to throw to. I know a lot of people like to watch the person's hips. It's really whatever works for you.
All right, so we've been talking about a perfect world with a perfect mark. Let's move on to when the mark isn't really working for you. And this could be for a lot of reasons. This could be because my thrower is bigger than I am, so they can reach around where I'm shuffling. It could be that my thrower is quick and has quick throws and releases and can move through and above and below my hands. In this scenario, what I like to do is I like to take a few steps back. Again, it's just geometry. So here, my angle when I'm shuffling is a much smaller area than if I move back, shuffling the same amount, covers much more distance with boost throws.
That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.
Hey, if you got a moment, click the like button, subscribe below, and hey, comment about what your favorite marking tips are.
A flat mark is used when you have a again, take two. I do not want her to throw a backhand, a flick.
Oh, we're standing on the wrong side.
It's a flick. It's
We're
a
standing on the
flick.
wrong
It's
side.
not a backhand. It's a flick. We're gonna start over here.
And so then, oh God, it's so long. I thought I had it in one take.